Pesachim Daf Kuf Aleph. Today's email comes from David Cantor from Givat Ze'ev. He says, I want to thank you again for leading me through Shas and teaching me how to learn Torah with a Geshmak. Your simchas and ahavas HaTorah is contagious, and I got contaminated by you, Baruch Hashem. Thanks again. Hope to see you at the Siyum, even if I won't take the vaccine. David Cantor, Givat Ze'ev. Thank you, David. There used to be a minhag to say Kiddush in Shul. And we have machlokes. If you say Kiddush in Shul, are you yaitza with that Kiddush? Are you not yaitza? Rav says that you're yaitza Kiddush, and you don't have to make Kiddush again unless you want to do so for your family. But Boirei Pri Hagafen, you're not yaitza. You'd have to make Boirei Pri Hagafen again at home if you want to drink more wine because of the Heschadas, the break between Shul at home. Shmuel says that if you're making Kiddush in Shul, why would you do so? To be mitzi the guests that stay in Shul. You would have to make another Kiddush when you get home. Why? Because the halacha is, according to Shmuel, that you have to have Kiddush b'makam su'uda. Your Kiddush has to take place with a meal. The Rishbam brings two reasons. One of them is, it says in the pasuk, v'karasa l'shavas oineg. As you're saying Kiddush v'karasa, it has to be oineg, there has to be a su'uda. You see that Shmuel holds, even in the same house, requires another bracha, because Shmuel himself would not rely on Kiddush that he made on the rooftop. So he wouldn't make Kiddush on the rooftop, he would come down and only make Kiddush downstairs. The Gemara says similarly with Rav Huna, his candle went out after he made Kiddush, so he did not rely on his first Kiddush. He went to his son's house, his son was a chassan, and there was light there, and he went and he made Kiddush again, and he ate the meal there. Rabbi would tell his Talmidim, eat something here after you make Kiddush, just in case when you go back to where you're staying, there's no light and you're going to miss out. The Gemara tells us the Rabbah would be noyeg like Rav in every chumrah, besides three things. He held that you're allowed to undo tzitzis from one garment and put them on another garment. He held that you're allowed to take fire from one Chanukah menorah and light another one. And he held like Reb Shimon that davar she'enim skavin is mutter. In other words, if you are dragging a bench and there's a chance that you might make a groove in the ground and there's a chance you won't, you're allowed to drag it because you don't have kavanah for it. If it's 100% that you're going to make that groove, then it's also because it's psikresha. Rabbi Yochanan argues on Rav and Shmuel, and he holds that a chazan that makes Kiddush in Shul, not only is he yaitza Kiddush, but he's also yaitza the Boirei Pri Hagafen, and if he wants to drink wine at home, he doesn't have to make another Boirei Pri Hagafen, because Rabbi Yochanan holds that Shinoi Makayim doesn't require another bracha. That is, if you move from one place to another, you don't need to make another Boirei Pri Hagafen. Another halacha holds, if you bring another wine into the room, you don't have to make a Boirei Pri Hagafen, you'd have to make Hatov HaMeitiv if it's a better wine and you have all the conditions of Hatov HaMeitiv. The problem is that there's a mefurish of Brisa that says, not like Rabbi Yochanan, that Shinei Makayim requires another bracha. In Shinei Makayim, Rav Huna explains that you would have to make a bracha. Shinei Makayim means when you go from one house to another, but not within the same house. And Rav Huna explains so, even though it's a mefurish of Brisa, he didn't hear the Brisa. You don't have to know all Brisas, you have to know all Mishnayos. Rav Chizda explains that Shinei Makayim requires a bracha only on food that you don't have to come back to the place that you started out at to make a birkas hamazon. In other words, for things that require shahakal, like water, or fruit that don't require a bracha mein shalish, those kind of food items, when you leave the house by mistake, you don't have to come back to the house to make the bracha achrayna. Therefore, it's considered a break, and it's another suda. But if you have to come back to make the bracha achrayna, like bread, and according to the Rishbam, all fruit that require a bracha mein shalosh, then it's as if you never took a break in that meal. It's not considered a shinei makay. Rav Shesha says in both cases you would have to make another bracha. It says in the Brisa, there's a group of people that were eating and then they ran out to do simchas chassav v'kala, but they left behind somebody, like an old man, somebody that couldn't go with them. Then they don't need birkas hamazon. You don't need to make a birkas hamazon when you leave, and you don't have to make a bracha rishona when you come back. And the Gemara says you can be Min Daf that's talking about such food that requires you to come back to make that bracha. But if you don't leave somebody behind, you would have to make a birkas hamazon. That must be going according to Rabbi Yehuda, not according to Rav Chizda. Because Rav Chizda doesn't make that differentiation between whether you leave somebody behind or not. He just says if it's the type of food that you have to come back, like bread that you have to come back, you don't require another bracha. Have a wonderful day.